Kata is a Japanese word literally meaning form, or referring to a detailed pattern of martial arts movements. The proper understanding of kata is extremely important in your martial arts training. It can help you with proper body mechanics, muscle memory, your breathing, posture, and so many different things. When done properly, it will give you a complete mind-body connection. The proper study of kata can create many ideas and possibilities to make those discoveries. That's if the study itself doesn't just involve visualizing the kata at face value. It should create a kind of neural pathway to your character or character of movement. And if you practice it in the right way, it'll create lots of good neural pathways and define the weapon that you must become. Many of us have heard the expression, kata's just fighting the air. Well, for many that may hold true. If your only tool is a hammer, then eventually everything starts to look like a wall. When it comes to studying kata, we must have the right mindfulness. I often like to refer to the analogy of a child's spinning top. When a child's top spins, most people just look at the spinning. If we remove our blinders, we can see that there is a calmness within the midst of the spinning. And anything that we learn in martial combat must manifest itself into the fighting skills. So it's useful when we need it. Otherwise, kata is just fighting the air. Do you ever wonder when you're in your place of practice or your training hall that kata doesn't work against sparring? If you practice the wrong sparring or templated kata, it can create bad habits and can destroy any illusion of reality. And the biggest mistake that practitioners make when they study kata is they always look at how they are interpreting the kata. Instead, have a look at how the kata interprets you. Otherwise, the first time you find yourself under attack with somebody that understands reality-based movements, you're going to find yourself severely injured. Quite often you'll see instructors demonstrating templated movements at face value, or taking parts of kata and trying to make them fit into what they think will happen in combat, or how the opponent's going to react. Well, the first rule of thumb is the opponent will never react the way you want them to. That's the problem. Kata is like a chess game. Every move you make depends on the position that's presented to you on the board at the time. When you watch an international chess master prepare for a chess match, they can study endless hours, endless lines of calculation. Here's the problem with that. Most of the time, none of that preparation will ever occur in the game. The best way to study is to bring light to the ideas of concepts. Learning the concepts and then getting them into your fighting skills. That is the key. That way, when you're in combat, you're just aware and you're not pulling from memory. And as you get more advanced, learn how to study the kata as it gives birth to your learning process. Don't just study it at face value. Face value is a beginner level, and you've got to progress beyond that point. Sometimes even advanced practitioners can get stuck in that stagnation. And always remember that stagnation breeds death. Any country that I teach seminars or workshops in, I want to give the practitioners the best learning experience possible. And I enjoy making people think and rethink things. That way they're just making the discoveries. And during the seminars, I always ask people this question. Do you practice kata for traditional or historical reasons? Or do you practice the kata for combat? Well, as practitioners of the martial arts, we don't want to preserve kata for historical reasons or just for face value. We want to study kata for its true intention and its true value. It needs to be in your fighting skills, embedded by osmosis and not by memory. Therefore, it becomes part of you. In the martial art landscape today, well, it's changed a lot. It seems around every corner you look, there are more and more and more techniques. It never seems to end. And just when you thought you've seen everything, someone comes along with another technique. Most of which are just old ideas repackaged and with a different flavor or presentation. You know, the best technique is your understanding. And most of the time in real combat, techniques don't work. It's best not to make your kata, or any technique for that matter, absolute. The reason is because in a combat situation, the universe will change every 1/10 of a second. And you need to be aware and respond with your understanding and your learned experiences. Those things have become part of you and part of the movement and part of who you are. And remember, if you block, you're late. It's okay to block, but as you get old, it's a goal to get old. And your study has to increase. Study how not to take on body mass. Remember, your opponent will always be younger as you grow in age.